In conversation with Sharon Williams, Sharon Williams has sought a closer relationship with the Lord through the high and low valleys of our life. Although the terrain may get rough, there was always one constant, never changing presence of our side, by her side. However, it was by a choice that she chose to follow his leadership. A first book, God's Whispers, Always Near, won third place in the fall 2021 Christian Authors Award. She studied theology at Indy and has a sizable library of her own. She has volunteered for Hospice service and has finished the training for Stephen's ministry. For the past 9 years, she has given a Bible study and is always looking for new ways to serve under God's leadership. At an age when most people start settling down, she felt the need to write a book. Not just any book, but with a book to uplift the spirit of others and to remind our readers of his constant presence. May you feel his love through the word of this book. And on today's episode of our interview, it's my utmost pleasure and joy to have on the show today Sharon Williams. How are you doing, Sharon?
I'm doing very well, thank you. hmm
Yeah, it's kind of pleasure to have you on the show today, really. I'm quite excited.
I am excited too. I really thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, it's my pleasure as well. So, Sharon, I'd like to ask you about your book, Because It Left Us, Because It Loved Us. How does this book come about? What inspired you to write Because It Loved Us? And that's such an amazing title, actually.
Yes. Well, it was during the pandemic, COVID pandemic, and I saw a lot of people going through bad changes within their life.
Yeah.
They were losing friends and family. Churches were being their doors were being closed, businesses were being closed as well. People that you knew had been around for a long time going through the difficulties, financial difficulties, because there just wasn't any contact with other people a lot of times. It was fear, actually, that was ruling about that time. And I felt like we needed to remember. We we needed to remember that God is real
Mm.
and is there with us at all times. And it's an uplifting book because I just wanted to get that message across. It's I know a lot of times people will turn to their neighbors or their church or something like that when they need to talk to somebody or they need to express themselves and all the turmoil and the difficulties they're going through.
Absolutely.
But so the book is basically is to remember, remember that God is real and God sees all, and He knows our plight, He knows our difficulties, and He's always there for us. So the book is really about because He loved us. Think about the ultimate price that God paid when He died for our sins. He did all of this because He loved us. And if we could just learn to love as He did, it would be a much better world.
Wow. I love your team in here, actually, and I love the comforting and powerful message that you seek to communicate in the book because it loved us. Thank you so much for sharing. I love the sound of it. And I'd like to ask you as well, Sharon, for readers who haven't read the book yet and without giving much information away, could we have a sneak of what we'd expect in terms of themes picking up because it loved us?
The book is about the 3-year ministry of Jesus, and it gives my insight. A lot of times when we read passages, there may be questions like, why did he say that? Or because he was relating to people that were back in biblical times.
Mm.
We may look at it today in a light of he's not really talking to us, but he is. And so we can open up the Bible anytime and apply it to our lives today.
Wow. I love your take on that actually. And I love the tone of the Christian life tips that you have here. It sounds like a faith-based, book. Sounds quite lovely to me, really. Thank you for sharing.
Mhm.
Now, I also see that you have another title in the name of God's Whispers, always there. And I love your title names, really. God's Whispers, always there. That alone can lead to so many conversations trying to break down the,
I know.
the motivation talks the title. Now, would you like to tell us a bit about the making of that as well?
Okay, this was actually something that I might write to my children as a legacy. But I felt like what the message I was writing to my children could also be shared with the public. It does get into some paranormal issues. And I know that a lot of times people, I'm not the only one that has experiences with God. Um, Everybody does in their own way. And that's what helps build their faith. And so I wanted to share mine because it seems to be a taboo subject. And it doesn't necessarily mean have to be that way because we have a spiritual realm and a physical realm. And they're just, both of them are so real. And for us not to discuss the spiritual realm or how it impacts our lives, it should be more open about that. And so I shared mine. I know that I'm kind of putting myself out there, but that's okay because I want to bring that message. This is what built my faith in Christ. And so God has so many ways to speak to us. Um, some people may see a red bird and it reminds them of a time with their loved one that they have lost. They may take that as a message. Oh, there he is, or there she is. Just letting me know everything is okay. But it even goes deeper than that. So um, when God speaks to us, it does open our eyes that it's actually Him that's speaking. So I just think it's so neat when God shows off.
Oh, I love your take on this, really, and I love the fact that you mentioned about the spiritual realm and the physical realm, both of them being so real. That's
Mhm,
very true, actually, because I too love exploring on this sort of themes in my own writing. So to hear that
mhm.
from you actually, intrigues me. Yeah, it intrigues me so much. Thank you for sharing.
Well, if I may to also say, we look at this world and we really think this is the real world. I do not feel that way. I feel that there is a world that is so much more real in the spiritual realm.
Mm.
Yes,
Wow.
because we break down, we grow old, we have diseases. We look different than we did when we were young. All of this is a part of material just eventually uh, just breaks down.
Mm.
It can't last forever. Spiritual does last forever.
Wow. This is so thought-provoking and very true. Yeah, I love the fact
Mhm.
that you mentioned this. I can relate to it so well. Yeah, so thank you for sharing. Once you find someone who can relate with what you're saying, because I believe in this sort of things, and I've written about it as well. So it's quite lovely to hear you talk about it as well. I'm quite intrigued.
Well, isn't it amazing? You believe that way. I believe that way. We would love to have scientific proof, and there is some,
Mm.
but I, I, I am glad also that people are beginning to understand a little bit more. But it's amazing we feel this way,
Yeah.
even without scientific proof, because of the Holy Spirit speaking to us.
Mm.
Don't you believe that?
Absolutely. Wow. This is amazing, really. Thank you so much for sharing, Sharon. I love your answers to this question. And now I'd like to ask you, how do you get the inspiration and ideas for your books? Also, why do you choose to write in the genre of Christian literature? What piqued your interest in this category?
I have walked, or I have known God since I was 5 years old.
Ah,
Due to an accident, he revealed himself to me.
mm,
Not not right there looking at me. No, that wasn't it. It was that he saved me from harm. And so as a child growing up, I looked at him as my protector.
mm,
And then when I was baptized at age 12, I actually felt something when I was baptized. I was a teenager with the beginnings of acne and straight hair, and I didn't want anybody looking at me as I was going up to the altar to be baptized. But when I actually was baptized, I felt a weight lifted off of my shoulders. It was so real. And I thought, wow, what was that? And I knew then that I belonged to God. We all belong to God. It's just that we uh, need to finalize it. We need to make that choice.
mm.
But after that, it was like there were so many things that happened that helped me feel his presence that I wanted other people to be aware, other people to sense, because God speaks to us in so many different ways, but it's ways that you will recognize. And it's personal. It's a personal thing between you and God.
God. Wow. Wow. As you're sharing your story, some other similar experience come to my mind. Yeah, of how God touched me some years ago, which was quite very surprising to me. I got to I was surprised that really, what really happened to me over there? Like, I cannot believe it. So from then, I come to believe that so these things are very real, really. Like, I felt the touch of God, it was mighty. And I was shocked. I was surprised. Yeah.
There you go.
It was
For sharing.
amazing, really. As you were sharing your story, it made me remember that experience. I was like, wow, that's very true. Because ever since then, I've been thinking of those things. Well, I know I've been a Christian right from time, but until you have a direct encounter, a direct touch, your faith would be heightened. You get to take it much more seriously than the previous way. I mean, I've been singing in the choir, I've been doing this, I've been doing that, but I haven't really felt that touch until that day. So it was very amazing. I was surprised. I got home, I told my mom, told everybody, told my friends even. I was like, I don't know what happened. I said, something happened to me yesterday night. It was awesome.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's wonderful. And it's things like this that we need to, when we
Yeah.
share them with each other, it's like we are recognizing them and for what they really are. They're
Absolutely.
God speaking to us. Yes.
Wow.
So I'm so glad you shared that too.
Yeah. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
It was so fun, really, and I was so intrigued by it. Yeah, thank you for sharing as well. I appreciate that too. Yeah, now apart from Because He Loved Us and God's Whispers, do you have any other works you've authored or currently working on?
I do. I had thought about carrying the ministry of Jesus into his fiction and into his ascension. But that's very difficult for me to write because I had seen the movie Passion. Every time I think of the agony and what he went through, Jesus went through for us,
Yeah.
it's very difficult for me to write not only what he went through, but because I see the bad side of mankind. And I know that right now you can look around the world and you can see wars going on
Mm.
all over the place. So it just seems to be part of our nature. I'm not really sure why, but look at Cain and Abel so early in our history and everything.
Mm.
So I had thought about writing about that, and I've started. But then I thought too, gee, a devotional book would really be nice to take a chapter, starting with Matthew, with the New Testament. I taking the first chapter of Matthew and writing something devotional about that chapter. To me, that puts me in a better frame of mind than writing about the evil, that persecuted our Christ.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. That sounds like an amazing work you've got ongoing. Yeah, that sounds very great. So well done on this amazing project. Yeah. Now I'd like to ask you to Sharon, is there anything that you would love to share with the viewers about your books that we did not mention in this interview? And I'd love the viewers to know. And please, if you have copies there with you, could you show it to the camera just so we can see what it looks like?
Oh, I will. Um, yes, I will share something with the audience. It seems like we learn lessons in life as life goes along. Our last lesson is one of our biggest lessons, and that is to learn to love each other, not to pass judgment when we see somebody. Not, okay, there is also my concern that a lot of times the people that we meet, we're not really meeting them. They could be suffering from financial crisis. They could be treating an aging parent. There could be a lot of things that they're going through. So our initial meeting may not be just what it should be. Don't judge. Wait, learn, get to know that person, and let your second and third concept of them maybe soak in a little bit more slowly. But love is something that we think that we should share with our family and friends. But we are all in this together. We are God's children. We all belong to a big family. And we need to realize that. The emotions that we send out stay forever. And I believe that my final lesson is learning to love.
Of the line where you mentioned the emotions that we give out stays forever. That's such an amazing statement to make, and it's very, very true. So thank you so much for sharing. I love the sound of it.
Okay, you're welcome. But that's my message to all the audience,
Yeah.
that we need to do that. And the love that we get from Christ is wonderful. And it's like we should keep practicing until we will never match what he gives us, but at least we can try each day.
Absolutely. Wow. Thank you, Sharon. This was quite great. Now, I'd like to ask you too, as a published author, what sort of advice do you have for other writers who are still struggling with publishing and writing a book? What would you advise people in this category?
Oh my gosh. I have had problems with publishers, and just beware that there are a lot of scams out there. If they are asking for money, and more money, and you haven't even gotten your book yet out to the public, beware. Um, I would also that when you write a book, you have to be passionate about it.
Absolutely.
You have to believe in what you are writing, because that's when it just flows. And you have to have the right atmosphere. You have to be able to focus. So a quiet atmosphere is good. I like light music in the background. Um, Keeps me awake. No, I'm kidding. But yes, it's but that's what I would tell other writers.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your advice, and I'm hopeful that viewers, including myself, would love to utilize it. Now, Sharon, in case we have some viewers who are currently watching this interview and would like to get a copy of any of your books, on what platform are they available on for purchase?
Okay, well, they're available, of course, through Barnes and Noble and also Amazon. Um, I have actually probably this is the thing. If I yesterday I stopped in Speedway gas station, never stopped there before in my life,
Oh,
and I was talking to the clerk behind the counter, and I knew she needed my book. So I went out to my trunk, I got my book, I signed it, and I gave it to her. I have given more books away than I have sold, I believe. So, but I would go with audio. The audio of Because He Loved Us is wonderful. It doesn't cost that much, especially if you are starting out with a trial on a trial basis with the audio in Amazon. Kindle is another one. You can get Because He Loved Us Kindle for about $3.
interesting.
So, and the other book, God's Whisper, is the same way. I don't have an audio of God's Whisper, but it is available on Kindle. And that if you can download the Kindle app and then bring the book in if you want.
That's great. That's amazing. And I left a link in the discussion part of this interview where interested viewers can get a copy of Sharon Williams' books directly on Amazon and Barnes& and Nobles and also on other platforms. So thank you so much, Sharon, for accepting the invitation to be featured on P English Literature. It's awesome having this conversation with you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.